Cult tactics. Cult tactics involve using manipulative techniques to control and influence individuals within a group, often through isolation, indoctrination, and psychological manipulation. Cults employ various tactics such as love bombing, fear based control, information control, and charismatic leadership to manipulate members into unquestioning loyalty and obedience. Peer pressure is the influence exerted by a social group on an individual to conform to the group's norms, values, and behaviors. Peer pressure can be both positive and negative, leading individuals to change their attitudes or behaviors to fit in with their peers. It can manifest in subtle ways or through direct coercion. Financial manipulation. Financial manipulation involves deceitful or unethical practices aimed at controlling or exploiting someone financially for personal gain. This form of manipulation can include fraud, embezzlement, coercion, or deceptive financial schemes designed to exploit an individual's trust or vulnerability for monetary benefit. Isolation is a form of manipulation where an individual is separated from their support network, making them more dependent on the manipulator. This can be achieved through various methods, such as by encouraging dependence. In this way, the manipulator convinces the person that they cannot function without them. It can also be by discrediting others, where the manipulator tries to damage the person's relationships with friends and family, making those connections less valuable. Lastly, it can be through controlling access, where manipulator restricts the person's access to resources, such as information, money, or transportation, making them more reliant on the manipulator. Playing the victim. In this form, an individual portrays themselves as being wronged or harmed to gain sympathy, attention, or to avoid blame. This can involve exaggerating or fabricating stories. The individual creates a false narrative of victimhood for personal gain. Emotional manipulation. The manipulator can also use their claimed victim status to evoke strong emotions in others, leading to guilt or sympathy. Deflecting responsibility. The manipulator avoids taking accountability for their actions by blaming others or circumstances. Gaslighting. In gaslighting, an individual causes someone to doubt their own memory, perception, or sanity by denying or distorting reality. This can include lying consistently. The manipulator tells untruths that contradict the person's experiences or perceptions. Manipulative questioning. Manipulative questioning is a form of manipulation where an individual uses questions to control or influence a conversation or outcome. This can be by leading questions, where manipulator asks questions that suggest a particular answer or perspective, guiding the person towards a specific conclusion. Ambiguous questions. This is a way of asking questions with multiple interpretations, causing confusion or uncertainty. Repeated questions. In this form, manipulator asks the same question multiple times, wearing down the person's resistance or forcing them to reconsider their initial response. Flattery. Flattery is the act of giving excessive compliments, often insincerely, to gain favor or manipulate someone's emotions. Flattery involves praising someone excessively to make them feel good about themselves and more inclined to do what you want. It can be used to manipulate people into agreeing with you or doing something they might not otherwise do. Bribery is the act of offering something valuable, such as money or gifts, to influence someone's behavior or decision-making. Bribery involves giving someone a reward or incentive in exchange for them doing what you want. It can be used to sway someone's opinion, gain their cooperation, or secure a desired outcome. Threats involve intimidating or coercing someone by warning of negative consequences if they do not comply with your demands. Threats are used to instill fear in others and manipulate their actions by making them believe that there will be harmful repercussions if they do not follow through with what you want. Emotional blackmail. Emotional blackmail is a form of manipulation that involves using guilt, fear, or obligation to control someone's behavior. Emotional blackmail exploits a person's emotions to make them feel guilty or obligated to meet your demands. It can involve threats of withdrawal of love, approval, or support to manipulate the other person. Passive-aggressive behavior. Passive-aggressive behavior is a type of manipulation characterized by indirect resistance, hostility, or stubbornness towards others. Passive-aggressive behavior involves expressing negative feelings indirectly through actions like procrastination, sulking, or sarcasm. It is a way of manipulating others without openly confronting them, often causing confusion and frustration in the process. Love bombing. In love bombing, an individual showers another person with excessive attention, affection, and praise to gain control over them or to mask malicious intentions. This can include over-the-top gestures. The manipulator makes grand romantic displays to create an intense emotional bond quickly. The other way is by flattery and compliments. The manipulator constantly praises and flatters the person, making them feel special and desired. Intense communication. Here, the individual maintains constant contact with the person, creating an overwhelming sense of connection and attachment in a short period of time. Triangulation. Triangulation is a manipulation tactic where a manipulator involves a third party to control or manipulate a situation, often by creating conflict or tension between individuals. The manipulator uses the third party as a tool to influence the dynamics of a relationship or situation. By communicating indirectly through the third party, the manipulator can distort perceptions, spread misinformation, or create divisions among people. Withholding information. Withholding information is a form of manipulation where crucial details are intentionally kept secret to control others' perceptions or decisions. By selectively sharing information, the manipulator can steer conversations, influence outcomes, or maintain power over others. This tactic can create dependency on the manipulator for information and distort reality by controlling what others know. Intimidation. Intimidation is a manipulation technique involving threats, coercion, or aggressive behavior to instill fear and control over others. The manipulator uses intimidation to create a sense of power imbalance, making others feel vulnerable and submissive. Through fear tactics, such as verbal threats or physical intimidation, the manipulator aims to manipulate behavior, silence opposition, or force compliance. False promises. False promises are deceptive commitments made by a manipulator to gain trust, cooperation, or compliance from others. The manipulator uses enticing promises that they have no intention of fulfilling to manipulate others into doing their bidding. By exploiting hopes and desires, the manipulator gains temporary compliance or loyalty before revealing the deception. Overwhelming someone. Overwhelming someone is a manipulation tactic where an individual bombards another person with excessive information, demands, or stimuli to confuse, disorient, or control them. The manipulator overwhelms their target with an avalanche of input to disrupt rational thinking, decision-making, or autonomy. By creating chaos or stress through overload, the manipulator can impair judgment and make it easier to influence or manipulate the overwhelmed individual.